Hello and welcome to Courage Concept number 11. Our expectations impact our reality. I had a situation with a mouse, one of these. I've been working on my computer quite a bit, and in the summer my hand started hurting me, so I bought an ergonomic mouse. And I started using it and it was fine. It helped ease the pain in my hand. I was happy with it. But a few days after starting to use it, I knocked it off the table and it went crashing to the ground and I broke it. I picked up the mouse and I put the batteries back in and I turned it back on and off and I moved it around on the table and nothing pulled up on my computer monitor. And I was so annoyed with myself because I had just spent this money on this item that was going to help my hand. And I took a deep breath and I said, well, it's broken. There's nothing I can do about it. And I got myself together and I started working again, but this time using the trackpad that was on my computer instead of going back to the standard mouse that had hurt my hand in the first place. And for the next month or so, that's what I used until that trackpad started acting up and it got super sensitive. It was not very effective in highlighting things and it was frustrating for me. And I got to the point where I said, well, this isn't working for me and I need to get my work done. And I pulled out that old standard mouse and I started using that. And about a week later, my hand was burning. It was aching. And I thought, Patricia, you're going to have to break down and buy another mouse, even though the one you have is brand new and broken. And that's what I did. I bought a second ergonomic mouse for my health. And I got it home and I put the USB into the computer and I started using it. And it was really nice to use it because having tools that work and that are in good working order make doing your job so much easier. It was smooth, it was precise, and my hand was relieved. And then I did it again. About 2 or 3 weeks later, I went to reach for the mouse. And I don't know if you've ever used one of these ergonomic mouses, but they're taller than your standard mice. So when I went to go and put my hand on it, I swiped across it and I swiped into it and knocked it off the table again. And I said, Patricia, don't tell me you did it again. You broke the mouse again. It's on the floor. The batteries had scattered and I darted down to pick it up quickly. I picked up the batteries quickly and I put them in because I had to know had I broken it again, as I suspected. And I put it on the table, moved it around, nothing. I turned it over. The red flashing light wasn't there. I decided I was going to turn it on and off to see if that would reset it. Nothing. I opened the battery casing. I pressed the batteries in to make sure they were in securely, put the battery cover back on and tried again. Nothing. And this time I said, okay, I'm going to take a break from this because this can't be happening. Breaking 2 mice within a month of purchasing them. How is this possible? How could you be so silly to do something like that? And so I took a break from it. I went out for my walk and I came back and I was more clear-headed and accepting of the situation. I didn't have my ergonomic mouse to use anymore. And I went back to using the standard mouse. But 2 days later, my hand started hurting again. And I knew that I was going to have to do something different. And I saw sitting on the table that mouse that I had just broken. And I got the idea that maybe I hadn't put the batteries back in the right order. And I thought, no, you did. You know how to put batteries in. But I was kind of desperate. I needed to be able to use something that wasn't going to hurt my hand. And so I picked up the mouse and I took the batteries out. And I said to myself, okay, let's try this. And I looked at the plus and minus signs where they were inside the casing. I looked at the battery where the plus and minus signs were on the batteries, and I lined them up accurately. Closed the cover, and the red light started flashing. I thought, oh, Patricia, you couldn't have made such a silly error. And I put it on the table, moved it around, and the cursor on my monitor started moving around in synchronicity with it. I felt really, really stupid for not having put the battery back in the right right order. But I had my mouse back, so I was happy. I was pleased. About 30 minutes after I started working, another thought dawned on me. And I thought, Patricia, I wonder if you put the batteries back in incorrectly in that first mouse. And I hadn't taken it to the supermarket to have it recycled. And so I got it out of the drawer, I put it in, and I took the batteries out and replaced them, looking at the plus and minus sides, putting the batteries back in according to that. And the red light came on. And I couldn't believe it. It was like a magic trick. I put the mouse on the table, started moving it around. But this time, I did not see the cursor on the screen. And I thought, see, it's broken. It's broken. I turned it over again, turned it off. The red light stopped moving. Turned it back on. The red light came on and started flickering. I thought, no, this is working. And I put it back on the table, started moving it around, still no cursor on the screen. Then I thought, let me left click this. I left clicked it and I saw the arrow. Started moving it around on the table. The arrow started moving around. It was fixed. Our expectations impact our reality. I expected both mice to be broken. And as a consequence, when I put the batteries in incorrectly, I didn't seek further answer. I didn't ask any other question. I just said, okay, I have to accept the situation. Had I expected a different outcome, I might have looked a little bit further. I might have fixed it and not bought a second mouse. But it's a learning lesson for me and for you, because out of it, you get courage concept number 11. Our expectations impact our reality. Now, to help you, and this courage concept goes to the catalyst for cultivating courage that is called shifting your perspective, because my perspective was set on having a broken mouse or having broken mice. I dropped it. Surely it was broken. And the way I put the batteries in, it was. But when I came back to it and I thought, maybe it isn't broken. Maybe I did something that was not right. And I went in and explored. I was able to change my reality, fortunately. Now, to help you use this concept in your life and see how it has come into play, I want you to think to a situation that didn't necessarily go your way. And I want you to write down what that situation was. I also want you to write down how you felt, what emotions you were feeling during that situation. And then I want you to think about how it might have been helpful for you to step away from that situation, clear your head, and come back to the problem or the situation and ask yourself new questions. How might that have impacted your reality of the situation? Now, if that situation's still going on or still could be improved, you might want to take this tack and go back and look at the situation with a clear head and ask yourself a different question. That is courage concept number 11. Our expectations impact our reality. I will see you again next time for another courage concept. Bye for now.